Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the noon Board of Trustees and Staff meeting for the Village of Lansing. We'll start with a roll call. Pat Gillespie. Here. Susan Ainsley. Present. Kathleen Yen.
Present by Zoom.
And Carolyn Greenwald is here. So we have a quorum, both in person and also Kathleen on Zoom. We will start as we do with our staff reports. John, do you want to go first?
Sure. Been busy finishing up a bunch of road work. We milled excuse me. We got Cuga Hills and Hampton Hills milled and paved. Cinema Drive, Sheridan Drive, Substation Alley, milled, paved, and restriped, which is quite an accomplishment to get everything in sequential order enough to, you have many different vendors that are involved and trying to get them to correlate their timing is quite challenging. We've been busy. We started mowing roadsides a little bit. Just the ones that we were paving so we could, make sure we see everything on the sides of the road. We're gonna go full-fledged mowing here soon. The parks, as far as that, Nick's been working tirelessly on them. Weed whacked and mowed to the point that they're almost burnt. So it's so dry out right now that we're probably gonna slow down a little bit on the mowing. Obviously the grant, has been some movement on the grant, some emails back and forth. As far as the grant, administrator, if you want to call her that. And Dondi, I've instructed Dondi to start his end of the paperwork that he needs to do for the contract documents as normally they do. Getting the insurances and equal opportunity employment and all the, I don't know what you call them, like, minority business stuff, information in.
I would suggest when Ronnie gets back that we have a meeting, because I think there's a lot of pieces of paper that are going around email right now. I think that the four of us should get together,
I think,
5 of us.
to be honest with you, I think we really need to keep moving forward on that as much as
Exactly.
we can. The contract documents do take an exceptional amount of time. If anybody was in on that, the emails, the amount of paperwork involved is just, it's insane. It's well over my head. I'll stick with, simpleton stuff. But I think it's moving forward and I think that's a great thing from the DEC aspect of things and TG Miller. I mean, there was a few design changes, but nothing, it was more or less in the easement stuff, through Security Mutual. But no, we didn't, I mean, we have slated in our budget to repave Uptown Road. That's all gonna be done after the project. You don't want to do it before because there's going to be some mechanical machinery on there that might damage the surface. But no, we've been trimming some intersections back, had some complaints on some egress issues. Keeps our eyes open on, on all the trees here. I got a call from the JMX, yesterday. Somebody almost got in an accident because of these trees here. The street trees along in between the curb and the sidewalk. And we trimmed them super aggressively a few years ago. And we're gonna lift them up again because we're having a tough time getting out of the intersection, the village driveway here, just because our trucks are up higher. So we have to kind of almost encroach the oncoming traffic to be able to see there's a slight bend in this road backwards. So you can't square off to them. And it's fine. We'll get them trimmed back a little bit. And I noticed some people that now that the leaves are on, bless you, they're starting to come down and tickle the tops of people's heads by the looks of it. So we'll get that done. We finally cleaned out the retention pond down there, finally got that done. I can't even describe how many loads we hauled out of there. 100 loads,
Which?
Hugo Hills Road, 100 loads out of there. I mean, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 yards of material. It's big as this building, but,
Looks good.
yeah, it looks amazing. Got it back to its original state. No, we're gonna start the next round now. Been working on easements, with East Point. I was, emailing Tim Crilly, which is some kind of operations manager. Didn't get a reply. So I went to, is it, Lorraine sent me Rob Pelton or something like that?
Yes, he's the
Yeah.
property manager.
Yeah, so, boom, instant reply. And Carolyn and I chatted a little bit. She's the head of the Greenway, with what we want to do and the plans on connecting the trails for East Point in the village. He bought onto it. He's pushing as hard as he can to get permission to get the sign off of the easement. I forwarded, Jim Sherman from the Heights of Lansing Homeowners Association. He had a couple quick questions back to me. And I have yet to had a sidebar conversation with Natalie. His question, I think, is, something that once we answer, once Natalie answers, it'll make it easier for he was concerned each person had to individually sign off, on the easement of the units. But Heights of Lansing Homeowners Association owns a, jug handle around the backside of those units, and it's basically kind of like a governing board, since that's a homeowners association governed by the Attorney General of the State of New York. It's kind of like a government, a village government. They have to get a board meeting and authorize somebody to sign off. So, I'll just have Natalie do an official, um, statement on that, and then
Did you ask her for that yet?
Natalie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I just got an email back from Jim Sherman few
Okay.
this morning.
Just asking.
So, but, yeah, I can probably go on all day long, but I don't want to do this. So, I don't want to bore you. Any questions, concerns on anything? The sewer project, we're still working on some final. I emailed, like I said, I'm gonna quit, but I felt this is important, so. The access agreement, the license agreement for the old, Lowry property. We finally got an exhibit. Natalie just created, some language for the license agreement. Kristen, Gutenberger Grossman wanted the village to create a document because it would expedite, because Cornell's attorney's office is backlogged. So we created a document, Natalie did last week. I emailed it off to Kristen and I just got a reply from her Tuesday of this week, and said she would review it, fast track it through, and then we'll go out to bid. So unfortunately, you kind of got to have all these access agreements in the contract as part of it, so they know their entrances. And we do have the Lake Shore Schooling one. We thought it would be problematic because it's very steep coming up out of there. The only thing that's gonna be done from Lake Shore Schooling or the Lowry property is basically reboarding the bridges and parging the old railroad bridge abutments. Those are the two bridges, the suspension bridges, they suspend the sewer line over the gorges. And then the other thing is basically in back of Lake Source Cooling, there was a storm sewer about 7 years ago, washed out, and it allowed this sanitary sewer line to settle. And we rushed in, resupported it, put a new storm structure underneath it, and got everything back to place, but we couldn't lift it up without potentially causing a break in the line. So we left it because it was flowing fine and nothing was leaking. But we want to straighten it up so it's straight and doesn't have a sag in it. So it has the highest capacity. When it has a sag in it, the water, it builds head and basically comes up and it's retarded for a back of backwards. Slowed down as it hits that and builds head pressure. So by straightening it up through, it'll be able to go down to the treatment plant a lot better. Any other questions on the bills or anything, invoices?
I had a question, the retaining ponds left for the summer, which ones are?
Just Flaction, and we mobilized this is a two bird with one stone kind of thing.
Right.
We moved the excavator down there from Cuba Hills Road. We're gonna clean the pond and do the brushwork.
Right. Is that a June, July project?
Probably within the next couple of weeks.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
perfect because it's dry right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think the parks look nice. I did see, obviously it's dry because it keeps threatening to rain and then not rain. I mean, that's not in our control.
Yeah.
But at least they're tidy. Good.
So real quick on the Greenway stuff, working on the memorial trees. Had the estimates back on them. Just basically, we decided, Carolyn and I decided to delay them because they're a very mature tree. They're a 3.5 to 4 inch caliper tree. Planting them now, and thank God, we know that it's dry out, would take an excessive amount of water. A normal sapling that's an inch and a half caliper, they don't take the water that a 3.5 inch caliper do. Because you're trying to, the big root ball, you're trying to establish that root ball into the exterior soils of the planting. And so we delayed that until fall. The pollinator garden, Carolyn and I chatted about that. We're gonna get moving on that soon. She's gonna call, I think, this afternoon.
I'll call them after this meeting.
Cuba Landscape, we've been sending emails. Everybody's busy. The now that June is come and the daffodils have died off, the village gardens are gonna be done by Cuba Landscape. They sent some pricing in for that. The village office as well. The daffodils were kind of waiting for them to die off and reestablish sending energy down into the root system before you cut them back. There is some trees out here that we're gonna have to trim a little bit. I noticed they're kind of coming down into the pathways of the village sidewalks. We did clean this mess out here, so. Anything else for Greenway?
Not for Greenway, I have a different.
Okay, go ahead.
So I didn't realize that Kega Heights, the village of Kega Heights is running a sidewalk along Kega Heights Road and that they have a grant to do so. I don't know, do they usually consult you?
Brent did notify us that, but the biggest obstacle is obviously the village, the 13 corridor area. I don't know. I haven't seen the plans, but I did hear that they had a grant.
They have a grant, they have plans, and I think they're gonna be reworking those plans, but I do want to keep an eye on it because there may be short connections that we can do. Obviously, in my dream world, we're going all the way to 34, but there's a lot of patience along that way. But maybe there's portions that are a little bit towards the village. Maybe there are neighborhoods in the village that can connect when they build. So I just wanted to know how aware you were of their projects and did they notify you?
Yeah, Brent said something here a while ago about possibly being involved a little bit more, but it's really not going to come up our way.
Well, it's
Cuba Heights.
It's gonna come to the edge of their land I thought it was gonna, well, first of all, they're reworking it.
Yeah,
The plan that's on their website is inaccurate. They told me this week, because I asked one of the board of trustees over there. They said that due to financial, et cetera, they're gonna have to redo it. So, but I just wanna be kind of keeping one eye on
absolutely
what they're doing and see, if there's some places where they're running right up to the village.
Sure.
We want to run it to the next neighborhood, which,
The biggest thing we really need to kind of keep in mind is, we have a lot of developments in the upper part of the village where walkability is really important. So, we want to make sure we connect them. I mean, we have Brook Way, Brook Drive, We have a lot of areas in this village that really don't have much foot traffic possibilities that, if we can capture, I think if you look at some of the CSC goals and some of these other goals, it's to connect communities, residential areas to businesses. I don't really see much of an advantage at this point on Cuba Heights Road right now.
I hear you. I
Yeah.
agree. What I'm really excited about that Greenway stuff that we did with Cornell was connecting, where's Marion? Connecting the two parks
Sure.
this way. And that was like even doing a bike trail for kids to connect the two parks in there. So that's something that I hope that the new Greenway plan is gonna include something. But
There's
I
definitely.
just want to see what what Cayuga Heights is doing, where they're putting things in, where they're gonna come in terms of how close they're gonna come to the village. I didn't know anything about it until.
We have miles and miles to walk, and one of the criteria is that the state, New York State is coming down on local municipalities, making sure they're ADA, especially where they meet the roadway. Cross striping, truncated domes, anything that makes them ADA compliancy. That's why they were just doing the bridge up here. Nothing to do with the village. And they had our village just kind of in gridlock because they were just doing the simple approaches to the bridge. And they were functioning perfect. And even though they revamped them, they still almost the contractor Suco said, he goes, I don't even know when they get done, but the way the bridge is designed doesn't really meet ADA. But they were trying to get them as close to ADA as compliant. Where I'm going with this conversation is sometimes you don't want to buy a new dozen eggs when you got good eggs. You got good sidewalks right now that just need some touching up.
Well, I also think the walkability of Trip Hammer Road is something that I feel for people when I see them crossing that bridge.
Yeah, I know.
So it's definitely something that I also want to think about. And that's going to be the subject of the email program, the Design Connect, and let's see if they have any good ideas.
2023, they were supposed to redo this bridge up here and redo the walkability to it because of the structure was bad. All of a sudden, it's 2026, and they're putting money into. There's a lot of money that went into them ADAs up there, and someday, within a couple of years, we don't know if the bridge is going to need to be replaced. In 2023, they were supposed to do that bridge and redo all the sidewalks, both sides, to make them better accessible and redo the structures because the bridge abutments, the bearings, and all that stuff on that bridge were a problem. Now all of a sudden they're not a problem.
So that would be New York State who would be in charge
Yeah,
of that?
it's all New York State.
Maybe we can get on them for that.
I doubt they just put a lot of money in there in that bridge. I doubt there's a reason. I'm surprised they would redo anything now. I mean, obviously everybody knows Route 13 is being reconstructed from the village, the city of Ithaca all the way to VFW and Dryden.
What do you mean reconstructed?
It's being storm work, sewer work. It's not being changed in any way, but it's good.
Revamped.
Yeah, it's not revamped, but it's just being repaved. Some of the substrates underneath the road are being replaced. So right now you'll see the signs up, but their paving crews are on 81 and they're going to be hitting it hard at the end of June.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'm sorry I took so long on those answers.
That's great, John. Thanks for all the information.
Anything from you, Kathleen?
Yeah, would you just clarify the location of the two suspension sewer pipes? I assume it's the two gorges.
That is correct. And I can't give you the physical address. I can get you coordinates, I guess. But if anybody's ever been down there and I
It's
encourage.
between Twin Glens and Cedar would be one gorge. It would basically run down Cedar right opposite Shannon Park, all the way down to 34. And the old railroad bed, I believe, spans the two gorges. The other gorge ends at the turnaround, just past the turnaround at the end of Cedar, between Cedar and Tyler, correct?
No, No, the one bridge is, um, off the end of Tyler Road. If you know where Tyler Road is,
Yeah.
closest to 13, Tyler Road comes back down. They're south of, of Cedar Lane by a quarter of a mile, about 1,100 feet or so. Um, but I can definitely, get you that information. They're
Oh,
a
that'd be
long ways
great.
away from Cedar Lane. And I don't know what else to, I mean, I can get you the information. I'm thinking,
And the stairs, where exactly are the stairs? The rotted wood.
what's that now?
The stairs, the rotted wood for the stairs.
They're all rotted, like everything's rotted. So, I mean, we're replacing all the stairs, but we're putting big fences up on the end of these bridges. They're getting 6 foot tall fences because they're not footbridges. That's private property. And we can't allow people to use these footbridges. They're basically for accessing manholes from one side to the other. They'll have a lock and key. They'll actually have wing walls, fencing to stop people from trying to get around onto the footbridge. Because one, it's an extreme liability on two people, the Village of Lansing and the property owners. And so we're not encouraging any walkability down there at all. That's why we're putting bridges, big fences up there. And, you know, the reason why we're replacing the boards, because that is all part of the structure. And since the sewer was buried like 4 feet deep, the suspension bridges actually come down off the surface of the bridge abutments down about 3 feet. That's why the steps are there. And we're replacing all those steps back to the bridge abutments and reparging and flashing all the bridge abutments because they're starting to deteriorate with the amount of moisture down there. And those bridge abutments have been in there since the 50s probably. The sewer has been in there since mid
Eh,
sixties, I think, mid fifties. So, yeah, they're a long way south of, I say long, thousand feet, I believe. We did measure it. I know when you drive down there, it's a, access nightmare. I've never seen such a, obviously they put sewer where it's all gravity, but there's really no access other than by foot. So if you have anything you need to take in there, it's all by your back. So any other
So,
questions on that?
so right now, are you accessing it via 34?
We're accessing it only by by lake source cooling access agreement and by our easement on Cedar Lane. We actually walked the whole distance. We parked 2 vehicles. It was 2,500 feet, I believe, from the sewer treatment facility of Cuba Heights to Cedar Lane. We had 2 vehicles. We walked down, walked 2,500 feet all the way to, the Village of Cuba Heights treatment facility, all by all the village bona fide easement that we found all legitimate language to.
So you have all those executed easements. Um,
No, we don't
that,
have
is
them
that
all. They're
correct?
all tied to the abstracts and recorded through the county clerk's office on the properties. And we laid it all out on the, on the plans, all the easement boundaries. Because, so the easement that drops down from Cedar Lane to the railroad corridor actually gets a little wider. It's what they call there's 2 easements, what they call a center line easement. So if it's a 30 feet center line on the infrastructure, it's 15 feet each side of the main. This is what they call a meets and bounds easement. And basically it's surveyed information. And as you drop down over Cedar Lane, it gets a little narrower, I think, at the bottom than it is at the top. At the top, it's quite a bit wider. And plus, we have a bona fide road right away, deeded right away on Cedar Lane. So we're using the combination of our sewer easement and our dedicated highway boundaries to make sure all the improvements are within sight of that. The only questionable spot, and I would like to chat with, um, Serling Sutton is the name of the owners, as we would like to, instead of, the sewer was designed for different reasons, but it has acute sharp angles, 90-degree angles, and it's hard to change flow direction hydraulically with 90-degree angles. So we'd like to, that's what we're doing right now, is we're softening the angle by installing an additional manhole. Instead of it coming and making 90-degree, 1.5 million gallons a day, we're talking, we're coming and hitting one manhole 45-degree angle and then hit the other 45-degree angle to make the right angle. That creates direction and force, you know what I mean, and velocity, reducing the velocity, actually. It's so turbid right now that the manhole lid just about bounces on the frame. That's how much force is coming down by your house right there on Cedar Lane. I hope I answered all your questions. I really do.
And then just one other question that was still outstanding. So, the crossovers, the sewer crossovers before and after the curve at the bottom of Cedar?
I'm not
Are there
understanding your
one or
question.
two?
Laterals? You mean like the sewer laterals from property owners?
Correct. No,
Oh,
under the road.
oh, you mean the stormwater pipes?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, we're just going underneath them. We won't even change them.
No.
We're,
The question is when the second, all right, there are two crossovers. When those two crossovers were put in and then the gas line was installed, was one of those crossovers redirected, basically closed?
no, no, and that's, I'm having a hard time knowing where Uphoffs is. I remember them vaguely, but in your email it said the pipe at Uphoff property was plugged, and I've
So
inspected.
if you're looking at the lake, that's Westlake, north side of that gorge where the sewer pipe suspension is. So
Oh,
it runs parallel with the gas line that was installed.
still not ringing the bell. I'm sorry.
That's
Is
okay.
it on Cedar? No, no, no. I
We can
want to. I would
follow
like
up
to really.
later.
Is it on Cedar Lane?
Correct. The gas
Oh,
line came down Cedar Lane, if you'll recall.
yeah. Okay. Come down from Hemlock, right? And then it kind of goes to the very outside corner of Cedar Lane, on the outside corner by the manhole, and then heads due south, and then it drops due west down over the embankment, down over. There's no pipes in there been changed outfalls. Well, for one, the outfalls are so deep, it would almost have to be pumped over into the other outfall. We didn't change any outfalls. The only pipe that we changed was the one in between your property. Is that Uphoff's on the corner there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I remember that. Yeah. They have a cross culvert that's like in their driveway. Their driveway culvert is 40 feet off the edge of pavement. It's not even, it doesn't even belong to the village. It has a wood retaining wall in there. That's not the village's responsibility, if that's anybody's referring to. That's the start of the other gorge. They come back into each other from by your property and then Uphoff's property, come back into each other. Maybe I'm misunderstanding where you're referring to. But I would love to meet you down there, Kathleen. We
Yep.
can have
So
the engineer.
it'd be great to do a walkthrough. Yeah,
Perfect,
perfect.
because
Excellent.
if
So
there is
send
a
it,
cross culvert that's plugged, we
Yeah.
want it unplugged.
right.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Excellent.
sounds
So
like you
just-
guys are gonna meet and you'll
Yep.
talk about it on site.
Next question, though,
Yep.
did you have one more question real quick?
No, those were a couple of the main things that had come to my attention.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, Kathleen. I'll
Yeah.
work with you,
Oh,
this next week.
wait. Yeah, two other things. I know you're really busy, but the progress on the the annual fleet inventory update. And then I know that you were going to get back regarding current practices for where the spoils go, like when you clean out the retention pond. What are the current practices in any agreement forms that you currently use in the village versus a suggested policy or plan you and Mike are drafting? So we can give us an update on that later.
Maybe you can take a look at the last thing you have from Kathleen that's written, because I think that we should have the updated spoils policy done,
Is this a recommendation?
well, we talked about it from.
I know we did, but
After the NICOM, yeah, the NICOM meeting, they talked a ton about spoils, so we came back and said, let's take a look at our policy. But it'll be a year in September, so maybe we can be done by then.
I can tell you right now, Mike, it was troublesome getting rid of the spoils, wasn't it? Out of that bond. I had a tough time getting rid of them. And we're just taking them unnecessary places that need fill. But anyway, we'll
So
cross that bridge when we
that
get there.
is just
But
for
forward what we
future
did.
update.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, let's just have a policy that records.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that we have to change how we do it.
Okay. All
It's
right.
just a matter of,
Well, getting permission again, getting somebody to sign off that we're dumping on them and the way that policy was written, is gonna be problematic. Nobody's gonna want a truck even getting close to their property if we're putting all the village's responsibility on the property owner. Nobody's gonna want it. And there you go. We have a tough time getting rid of spoils. I personally think we should buy a piece of land, the village, outside of the village needs to buy a piece of land outside of the village in some township and haul our spoils there. It's the cleanest way. That's what it's coming to. That's what's gonna happen. And that's gonna get expensive. But nobody wants our spoils.
Nobody wants it because it's useless. So
It's-
it's good for Phil.
And that's why I don't even understand why NICOM is getting involved in
well, I told you why, because there were too many cases of municipalities with the people getting in trouble for their misuse of the spoils. So it's just good to just have a policy that you make sure everybody follows, and that way everyone's on the same page about what happens to it.
we can have a simple spoils policy that regards anything,
Policy
anything,
of value.
one worder of value, basically, boom, we'll figure that out.
Absolutely have the simplest policy, it's just a matter of having a
Yeah.
policy.
Well, we started off with basically a 7-page policy that made it almost impossible to get rid of stuff.
Okay, so let's.
Okay, so
Down.
if you want to get down to a sentence like this, the village can't spend any money or anything of value for private gain. I'm all for it. That's the simplest policy. I'm all for that. And that could almost go in, our policy book as basically a paragraph. But when it started to be, can I take this?
Is that it?
No.
No.
It was very much.
I haven't looked at it in quite a while. I think
Yeah.
the original draft went around, but
Yep.
yeah, let's come to a compromise on
Yeah.
a usable,
Yep,
helpful policy
yep.
that protects everybody. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in
Yeah.
November you had it one page and then just the sample agreement.
Yeah, okay. All right, very
Let's
good.
turn to it though, because or
Thank
else, things that can be done anytime get done in no time. So sometimes it's better to just make sure we get it done when it's, instead of letting it hang out there.
Anything else for me from anybody? Pat, you got anything?
No.
Just,
Pretty quiet over there, just wanted.
well, I'm sure Mike has a lot to say, so let's hear from Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've got about 4 or 5 items I want to touch on. Nothing really to do with what I'm doing in there for code and zoning. That's just moves along as it is. Chipotle, you saw the 8 restaurants down. I have not gotten a set of prints yet from them, so I don't know what the deal is. I did get a call about them wanting to set up temporary electrical service and whatnot, which is standard. But other than that, I don't know anything more about it. As Susan asked, the status of the proposal of the 110 unit mixed use proposal for the land that's on the corner of Bomax and Warren Road. They went to the Board of Trustees for went to the BZA for two variances. One was a setback variance, the other was a density variance. When they went to the BZA, they went in looking for 110 units, which was 300% over what is allowed for that area. During the meeting, whether they felt that it wasn't going the way they'd like to or not, they kind of came up with a second idea, I guess a plan B that they had in their back pocket that what they want to do is take 20 Bomax and take the residential right to build from that parcel and use it on the corner lot, which means two things. One, it would allow the density to be calculated with the 20 Bomax property, which would get them back to similar of what the PDA was, but not the PDA. And what would happen with 20 Bomax is in the deed, it would be written in there that forever, there could never be any residential buildings built on that property. That does, with that calculation then, brings it down to about 30%, 37% over what is allowed in that area. And that's what you're coming back next Tuesday for, is to explain that to the BZA members and see whether that is something that is appealing to them or not. I'd rather we didn't really comment too much on that for the record, because I don't want what the Board of Trustees, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, to have any influence on the BZA's decision one way or another. The decision for that is based solely on the 5 questions that have to be asked. And anything more than that, just kind of want to follow the proper steps on this one.
Sounds like very good advice.
That's what we are with that. We are getting a carnival again. We talked about this last year, that I do not want a carnival, but that's fine. The main reason I didn't want a carnival was because of the little Hooverville that pops up in the back.
We never instituted the code change.
Never change it. So when they asked for it this year, I said the carnival's fine. It's still something that you can do. Said, but there's not going to be any residential on that commercial property. You're going to have to find someplace else to house people, whether a hotel, find a campground someplace, but it's not going to be there. I don't want to have to deal with possible stormwater issues or anything. So that's how that's been left. So I just wanted to let you folks know that.
I think maybe when the code changes continue to take a long, long time, if there's one that we're absolutely sure of, we should take it out and move it separately. And maybe the carnival would be a good opportunity to do that.
I mean,
So this will be the last one.
we talked that, it's possible the carnival is it good for the village? I don't know how many people go to it, because I don't go to it to find out, but it may be good for the village. It may be profitable for the mall. I don't know. But it's just that residential aspect of it, it's just not going to happen. Speaking of the mall, I gave you a piece of paper there that their time is up for the 3 violation notices that I've given them. And I sent an email to Beth explaining that you were either going to ask me, I said on here, you're going to ask if I was going to make any, and I have nothing really to go by, no recommendations or whatnot, until I find out what you folks decide you want to do. And that you can read the response that Beth had back to me, that, they're looking for somebody, just to paraphrase, they're looking for somebody taking in estimates and whatnot.
I think it would be in Beth's best interest if we continue with our legal action as planned, because I think that will only help her to achieve what she also wants for the mall, which is to get it repaved.
Okay, just keep in mind that, the reason why we do kind of avoid this is now we're starting it's costly to the village to start the process, but.
This is also costly to the village. It's very costly to the village to have the mall in the state that it is. It's more costly to the village than it
What's
is.
that?
It's more costly to the village to have the mall in this state in terms of the appeal of the village being, our reputation being, first of all, everyone thinks that we control the ring road. But not only that, just the village is a reflection of the village. And I think that is a very high cost that we've been paying.
So even defending ourselves to prove that we're not the owners of it is gonna cost us money. Like, we've already been getting, there was a couple complaints coming that said they damaged our car. And we tell them it's not the villages, it's the malls. But if we have to go to court because they sue the village and the mall, we have to defend ourselves saying it wasn't our road. So that's gonna cost the village money that way too. So you're right. You're right.
So we proceed.
I'm happy to proceed if folks want to wait one more week until Ronnie gets back. I would understand that, but
No.
I think we should go.
I think we should go ahead because it's same, and it's the same all.
Agreed.
What's really troublesome though is the parking lot, what they want to do is like do little segments. They need to go in and just patch the holes, which takes no effort. I mean, that's what we do to our roads, patch the holes. Go get a couple ton of blacktop and patch the holes. It's no effort. And it would stop a lot of problem. They already paved that section out in front of Cuga Mall or Cuga Hospital.
And that's trash.
And it's already broke up because they're not doing it right. Their base is all flawed. So anything they do to the top surface is a paint job on a dented fender.
Okay, let's continue then.
Yes, and
Natalie.
yeah, with very strong language.
And I think, I think we should proceed as well, but I'd like it to be formalized when Ronnie gets back. Because he had made, one other suggestion.
What do you mean formalized?
Just
Bill.
formalize, go forward, with, the Board of Trustees recommending going forward with a legal, it's just a few days, right? Till Monday.
How does that work? Do you want an official resolution?
We're not passing any kind of resolution. We're just making a recommendation to Mike that we continue on our current path and not pause. She sends an email asking us for time because she wants to do this and whatnot. They've had plenty of time. They've had 90 days.
Mhm.
It could have, in 90 days, you could have all the estimates you need.
Yeah, I mean, it's in very poor condition. It's been going on as long as I can remember, and I think we should proceed with legal proceedings. But I just meant as a courtesy for when Ronnie gets back to actually, as a matter of record, recommend we proceed.
It's in I'm required as per 145/75 to come to the board when it comes to this point to get permission to start legal processing because you're spending money in the village. The village is spending money. I can't do that. So that's the reason why I'm asking.
So should we vote right now?
But
I would move that we advance towards spending funds on keeping pressure on the mall to fulfill their remedies.
Second.
Okay, do a second. All those in favor? Any abstentions or
I
any
would,
noes? Okay, Kathleen's voting no.
I would just advocate waiting until the next trustee meeting, which is just in a few days when everyone is present.
Okay, there's one no. All the motion passes. Let's continue.
Any more questions on that or anything? Couple other smaller items. The environmental assessment that we normally do, the seeker, that you're very familiar with it. has been changed as of June 12th. Tomorrow, changed tomorrow, to add on a few other questions, what the DEC, has done. They have petitioned the state, and the state had, or the Secretary of State, and they are now legislation requires agencies reviewing actions under seeker to evaluate whether an action may cause or increase a disappropriate pollution burden on a disadvantaged community as part of the seeker process, both in determination of significance and where relevant. They're calling it environmental justice. So they listed out what they consider a disadvantaged community, and Ithaca happens to be one of them. Environmentally disadvantaged. So what we have to do now for seekers, they've added on the short EAF, they've added 3 questions basically on whatever action we do here in the village, how does it reflect on the environmental impact on Ithaca? So, which is very difficult to do, but I understand where they're going at. I mean, if it's discharging water and it goes down, like it eventually goes to Ithaca. If we're throwing up a nuclear plant here, how it affects Ithaca, that type of stuff. So I understand what they're trying to do, but so our process is going to change just a little bit. There's going to be a few more questions.
Okay.
Just letting you know that. Another thing I found with the Staboa meeting yesterday is there might be something coming back around about lead paint. To the effect that the health department doesn't really want anything to do with it. Therefore, it may drop into my lab or a code officer's lab. I can see it without getting into detail. I can see it being handled similar to asbestos, so that if a building, I think asbestos now is 1970. I'd have to look it up. If a building was built before a certain year and is being demolished, then you have to have basically an asbestos survey, make sure you don't have friable asbestos, that it gets knocked down and it gets discharged in the air. I think the same process, and this is my speculation, is going to happen with lead paint. We'll have to have a test for lead paint. That cannot go into the ground. That has to be removed completely, that type of stuff, which is somewhat, without complaining, is another unfunded mandate from the state. So I just wanted to let you know that that might be coming around too. I think so. You saw that.
Yes.
That's so. You'd be excited.
Well, it's important stuff.
I think that's,
What about Adelita's liquor license?
huh?
What about Adelita's liquor license renewal?
They have,
Requesting a 30-day waiver for.
Yeah, that's-
that's actually my last thing. They are requesting.
To serve beer, wine, and liquor. So a resolution would be to waive the 30-day notice requirement of liquor license applications for Adelita's Lansing Inc. at 2300 North Trip Hammer Road, Suite 2.
Does someone want to move that resolution?
I'll move it.
Someone want a second? All those in favor?
Looking at my notes.
It's
No, I thought you were done.
Opposed?
So that,
Motion passes.
That's all.
Very excited about the new businesses coming to the village. Wish them the best of luck.
I mean, they're gonna open up like within the year.
What's that? Adelita's?
Yeah,
Oh,
or they're gonna come back to us for another.
as soon as I get the thing from the health department, get the okay from the health department, then I go down and do my fire inspection.
Does anyone have questions for Mike?
May I be excused? Well, that's
Yeah, go back.
not the only
Down the
reason.
hall.
I got like hay in the ground. It's gonna rain 3-4 o'clock this afternoon.
Always right about the weather. I'll give you that for sure.
John is
Right.
always worried about
I'd
it.
exaggerate.
He always knows the weather. Mike is talking around, but I'm sure John's right.
He has to.
Thank you, John.
It's okay.
Have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be back in on Monday.
Okay, Jody?
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Bye-bye.
tax bills went out June 1st and are due by July 1st. Residents are now able to pay their taxes online through tax plans. but there's a service charge that's paid directly to the bank. Link is on the website, and it was also printed on the tax bills, so everybody knows about it. Had quite a few. The system is challenging to reconcile because all the payments don't come in on one journal and it's all over, so it's gonna take a while to get it reconciled. We'll get there. Yeah, it's like the e-checks some take this many days and some take this many, and so you have a journal with everything, and yeah. But we'll get it done. It's convenient for the residents, that's all that matters, right? I gave everyone the proposed agenda for the joint meeting on Monday. Is there anything else? It's gonna be a 2-hour meeting, may not get through all of it, so I don't know if there's anything that you want rearranged.
Can we take care of the June 1st minutes?
What?
Can we take care of the June 1st minutes?
Absolutely, if you wanna do that, we can,
We just
yeah, 'cause I
did
got all
something.
your corrections, if you wanna do that right now.
Yes, please.
Okay. That's.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from June 1st?
Yes.
Any discussion about those minutes?
Nope.
Someone like to move that we accept them?
I'll move it.
Pat moves. Would someone like to second?
Second.
Susan seconds. All those in favor? Say aye. Kathleen says aye as well, so it's unanimous. All right, we're practically done with our Monday
Here
meeting.
we go.
Good job, Pat.
Takes 2 minutes off the.
Okay, there's been a request from account N5933 to waive the late penalties for the water in the amount of $9.09 and for sewer and $8.45. They've never been late before. So I don't know if you would like to do a one-time courtesy waive.
One-time courtesy waves are our modus operandi. Would someone like to move that?
I'll move it.
Susan moves. Would someone like to second? Pat seconds. All those in favor of waiving these penalties as a one-time courtesy, say aye. Raise your hand. Thank you. It's unanimous.
Do you have any questions about the vouchers? Want to approve those?
Questions?
I have no questions either to this time. Someone like to move that we pay the vouchers? Susan moves. Pat seconds. All those in favor, say aye. Any abstentions?
I have to abstain because I'm not here.
One abstention from Kathleen.
they-
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yep.
Motion passes. That's everything from Jody. All right, Pat, do you have anything for us today? Thank you, Pat. Susan, what do you have to report?
Nothing. Mike covered all the planning board.
Kathleen, do you have a report for today?
Just real short, EMC this afternoon, 4 o'clock. Finger Lakes Sustainability Director Gay Nicholson is the featured speaker. No other meetings have occurred. I did forward the Department of Emergency Response newsletter to everyone because it does now have the heat alert, heat hazard information in it that we may want to have on our website. And
I
just
saw
to
that,
save,
thank you.
yeah. Also save the date, September 19th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's going to be the annual Tompkins County Airport Day and Preparedness Expo. And then July 28th, McLean is having one of the preparedness training for citizens. They're free. You get a go bag with supplies.
Great, thank you.
You
Anything
do
else?
have to register. Nope, that's it.
I would just want to tell people that the rec partnership had their budget meeting on Tuesday, and we voted for a budget where the village's amount for 2027 would be $22,736.63, and that's $260 more than what we're paying in 2026.
22.
22,763. Okay, yeah, sorry, so it's one for. And just for changes for the new year, we are gonna have some programming increases for that amount. they're going to be doing pilot programs, 6 pilot programs for different things that people have approved ideas. And then they'll just run like a small test to see if, and they did a couple of those this year, I think maybe with water polo and maybe with volleyball. When they get a request in, instead of creating a full program, instead they first run a pilot program to assess how big it's gonna be. And yeah, so that's kind of big, that's kind of one of the big changes, and they are gonna do, like we talked about last time, that's adding the sports camp, but it's just gonna be a half-day sports camp, just to make up for some of the lack of sports options that we have now in the county area. So that's the rec partnership, and then I just want to invite and remind everybody that the town of Lansing celebrates is it the? It has a
250.
funny. How do you, is it sequicentennial? How do you say sequiquintennial? 250. Right, you could say it that way too. But there's another way to say it.
There is.
There is another way to say it. It's a semi-quincentennial. It's the semi-quincentennial. On Saturday at 11 o'clock, there'll be patriotic songs, games, balloons, a little speech by me and by Ruth. Hers is historical. And yeah, just celebrating our birthday.
Are you leading the group in song?
I think that they don't want me to do that.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll have some good singers there, of which I'm not one. I think that's it for today. Is there anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh.
Motion to-
Matt's moving and Susan is seconding. All those in favor? Say aye. Kathleen,
Aye.
thank you so much for attending from.
Thank you, guys.
Abroad, from Vermont. We appreciate your
Bye.
presence today. All right. See you guys on Monday. Very short.